Hi, my name is Erin Ozyurek, and my research question was, how did American culture spread to Eastern Europe during the Cold War? My hypothesis was that if youth was mobilized, then American culture was more likely to spread. The Cold War was a very different type of war from previous wars because it was largely based on different ideologies. Because of this, soft power had a very significant role in the Cold War. Soft power is basically the power that a country has that comes from the appeal and the attractiveness of its values. And culture can be a very important part of this soft power. Examples like popular culture and consumer products have been used in the past to spread culture and strengthen the soft power that a country has. During the Cold War, the United States attempted to undermine Soviet influence in Eastern Europe through the spread of its culture, and this took the form of both government-sponsored programs as well as private efforts from individual companies. For my research, the methods I used included case studies as well as process tracing. I used case studies to compare different examples of the spread of American culture, and I measured this spread through media and consumer products that were present in Eastern European countries. I used process tracing to observe the causal process through which the culture spread, and I used archival research and historical documents to observe the different interactions with youth and culture. What I found was that engagement of youth was necessary to the spread of American culture in Eastern Europe because of the different cases that I studied. One case that I studied was a Radio Free Europe program called Teenager Party that was in Hungary. And what I found was that Hungarian youth were a very big audience for this program, and the program ended up being very popular and successful in Hungary. This program broadcasted American songs, and its popularity was seen through the letters that its listeners sent to the radio program requesting American rock songs and different artists to be played on the radio. The Hungarian government even produced a film to criticize this radio program, but it was received very poorly due to the widespread popularity of it, especially among youth. Another example was the popularity of blue jeans in Eastern Europe, and the black market trade of blue jeans was very widespread among the youth in different Eastern European countries. And then this eventually led to Levi Strauss factories being opened in these countries because of the popularity and demand for blue jeans. An example where culture was not spread very successfully was the United States Information Agency publishing efforts, and this included books, magazines, and other printed materials that this agency tried to publish and distribute in different Eastern European countries. But these efforts were not as successful as were expected and as were seen from other efforts and activities because they were not specifically directed at youth, which meant that youth didn't consume them as much, and they ended up not being very successful in Eastern Europe. What my research has showed me is that the mobilization of youth is very critical and necessary to the successful spread of culture, and therefore to the strengthening of soft power, not just for the US, but for other countries as well.